Well, that's the great problem, of course. Detection and maritime patrols are one thing, but they'll cut off attempted movements by people smugglers. The real worry is that somehow they've got the signal to start up again. What do you think Labor has done that might have sent that signal? Was it perhaps the eradication of temporary protection visas, even though they're not being applied any longer?
Well, let me be very clear about temporary protection visas. Temporary protection visas were within the mandate of the Refugee Convention. If a person is in a position where they can go home in safety and security, free from persecution, then do you have to provide them a place that will keep out somebody who is in greater need? So the Refugee Convention acknowledges that you don't have to have permanent residency for people whose circumstances might have changed, and temporary protection visas gave you the opportunity to be able to return those whose circumstances had changed. I regard it as being very foolish to send a message to people smugglers that the situation under Labor was going to be different to what it was under the Coalition, because all that does is send a message to the people smugglers that they've got an opportunity to be able to sell the opportunities to get on boats at a cost, and it's obvious that it works.
We've seen this play out a couple of times before. We've seen enormous trauma and tragedy as a result. Are you persuaded by the Prime Minister's calm approach, saying this is nothing unusual, we've managed to send these people to offshore detention, they've accepted that part of the Coalition's formula, or does it look like this could be the start of a growing wave?
Well, let me be very clear. The Prime Minister is making comments now that he supports policies that are going to deter people coming to Australia without lawful authority. That's what he asserts. But if you go back and look at his comments and criticisms of me when I was Immigration Minister, you'll see why people would look at what he is saying now and saying, is that believable? He was one of the strident critics of policies put in place by the Coalition at earlier points in time. Of course, now he wants to say, not that I've changed my mind, but there is no difference between what the Coalition was doing and what we're doing now. Well, let me be very clear. If you abolish temporary protection visas, that sends a message. I think the people smugglers know that if they continue to press them, they won't be as strident as the Coalition had been in times past. And let me be very clear again. In my view, we need to be recognising that there are 130 million or so people displaced around the world. We can't take them all. The places should be available to those who need help most, not to those who've got the money to pay a smuggler.
Philip Ruddock, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate your insights.